Ik ben begonnen. Hi everybody. Do let me know if I'm intelligible and if the stream is looking alright. Seems like there's some bitrate shenanigans going on that I'm not completely understanding. But if the stream's looking right on your side, then we're going to be cracking on. Hi everybody, Snowy the Bunli Chow. Dong has expanded. Says I started at 7 o'clock to have a peep at your stream. Shampope, hi. Shampope says, Tim, it's been so long since your last stream. How are you doing? Yeah, it's been a while. It's been like 2 months since the previous piano hangout. And yeah, this is kind of an experiment. I'm kind of nervous because of all the moving parts that I'm trying to keep under control. So really hoping that everything is in order. And we can have an interesting chat about this video game that we've been looking forward to for so long. And that some of us might have opinions about. So hopefully we can have a nice chat about that and play along with the game. I'm going to start over again with a new save file and just do a very mild light roast of this video game that's been made by people with a lot of talent, a lot of skill, a lot of vision that I unfortunately didn't particularly enjoy all that much. So that's the pitch. It looks like I'm only having 360p here in my widget. Are you having a reasonable resolution? Do let me know. Hi, Aspiring Hero Games, Lazarus, Backpack Studios, UA, hi, yeah, welcome back. It's been so long. We are spooky. I did finish the game, yeah. I'm not starting over just for the so we all have the same starting point and see how it goes. Romana, hi. Yes, I will also be critiquing the music. Thank you, Dong Suspended. Glad to have a 1080p there. All right, let's go. Going to change user and then you will see all my shameful usernames that me and my kid are using. Let's see. Let's take Knurfed. We're going to take Knurfed. This will actually be the first time that I'm playing this in English. I did my first and only playthrough in Dutch, because the Dutch translations of Nintendo games lately have been fantastic. And it has been very, very fun. So, yeah. Hi, it's all ghosts. Jaloni. Tuneforge, hi. Going back into the groove. Yeah, so this game kind of opens in a similar way that the predecessor did, right? Breath of the Wild, with a nice minimal font, nice and artsy. It's not as minimal a game as Breath of the Wild, so I'm not sure if hewing so close to the previous game really fits this one. And that's the theme that I will come back to every now and then.
Gloom keeps getting thicker.
Oh, and I have to remember to set the language to Japanese, the voice language.
We've been descending for a while.
So yeah, it's very cool that they're starting with the more or less the E3 2019 section. So for all of us nerds who have been following this closely, this was a very exciting opening to immediately control a fully decked out Link in that nice creepy underground section that we've been fantasizing of for so long. Let's see, voice language, Japanese, please. That's the other side. And I want an extra fast camera speed. There we go. Hey, random citizen. So that was that's been very cool, and Link with all his hearts and the Master Sword and stuff like that, and seeing these luminous stones. I think that's a very cool intro, and also lots of extra dialogue with Zelda that when I started playing this, I was like, oh, this beginning is amazing. I'm going to Read everything she has to say. And they actually try to tie this into Breath of the Wild really clever. Like, how does she know that there's stuff under here? Oh, we never saw because we weren't allowed to go under there and stuff like that. So they're doing some clever things narratively. Yeah, talking about the opening font and the opening with the skydiving that's coming in a minute, when they're really trying to channel Breath of the Wild in a lot of ways. And I'm curious if that worked for you, folks. If it worked for you that this beginning has so many Breath of the Wild elements in it, with the skydiving and the skydiving music and the opening font and stuff like that. Because for me, the more they reference Breath of the Wild in this game, the less I was actually feeling very interested. Like when they were really doing their own thing, like with this sequence walking around with Zelda underground, I thought that worked best. And anytime they referenced Breath of the Wild, I was like, don't do that. Like Breath of the Wild is its own thing, and it's fantastic. Just do your own new thing, please. But they obviously didn't. This is very cool, by the way, that the Master Sword started giving light. Yeah, there is no Dutch voice acting, actually. There's a Dutch translation, so all the text is in Dutch, which often differs quite a bit from the English one. But the voice acting is default, it's in English. It's also so cool that you're already hearing the music that you will also be hearing at the end of the game. By the way, this is a quite spoilery stream, so if you haven't finished the game yet, just so you know. Swing sword with Y. But why? Ah, Backpack Studio as well. I hope it's a nice first hour for you to watch. How spoilery are we getting? I'm not trying to be more spoilery than needed, but I will be talking about the game as a whole. So, yeah, if you're really sensitive to spoilers, then be advised. Also, it's very nice for all the Zelda tubers out there that she immediately mentions the Zonai. Like I remember one of the Zelda tubers is going completely nuts that about the Zonai charges. I'm not sure if it was Nintendo Black Crisis or Zeltic or Monster Maze. But immediately, like in the first few minutes of the game, they're going, oh yeah, this is Zonai stuff. So that's very fun. Yeah, German has its own vocal language. Yeah, this opening is great. I am kind of wondering because the opening is quite narrow, so to speak. Even though in the trailer, the 2019 trailer, had enormous underground like vistas and stuff, underground bridges and what you probably remember. Oh no, keys! This is so funny, like you're completely decked out and you get attacked by keys. And then she asks, "Are you alright?" I thought it was kind of hilarious. Anyways, but this is quite constrained, so sometimes I have the feeling that they kind of had to like narrow the scope for this game, which isn't like very surprising because the scope for this game is enormous. Which is also a point I want to discuss. Yeah, exactly, Toon Forge. That's exactly what I was saying, including the Don, something you don't really see in the in this game. They're kind of relegated to a single section. So it seems like they had plans for that they didn't follow through on for some reason. Is what Zeltic was going bonkers. Ah, right. Yes, this music is so cool. Like in the when I was playing the end of the game, and as you're descending further and further, and the music just keeps escalating. And at a certain point, I wasn't sure, am I near the end? Because how much further can this music escalate? And then it escalates even further. It was a very cool moment. There's this heart in the corner of the chat that's constantly in the way, and I'm feeling like such a boomer. Alright, let's do that. Tall Ghost says, I think when Link goes to grab Zelda's torch so you can take the photo, it's really cute. Yeah, they do have some nice interaction here, right? It feels like they're quite used to each other's company. I kind of missed that, because after this intro, as we probably all know, Zelda falls into a plot hole. And she kind of disappears for the rest of the game. Which is a shame, because this interaction, and kind of chatting with her a little bit, would be very cool if she was just hanging around in Lookout Landing and you could talk with her, take her along with missions and stuff like that. But, you know, she has to be the catalyst for the plot, I guess. And he's just more or less explaining the entire plot in one go. But yeah, it's a very cool. I think the setup for this game is super cool, and then as you start really playing going along in the story, it just falls further and further apart. For example, I'm not sure how you guys feel about it. Just let me know. But the fact that you're revisiting the same 4 regions that you did in Breath of the Wild, it kind of makes it feel like this is almost like a soft reboot of Breath of the Wild in a way. So yeah, we're going to the Rito again, to the Gorons again, Gerudo and Zora again. And that felt like I didn't feel that sense of adventure that I had in Breath of the Wild, because as soon as they said 4 regions, I was like, yeah, okay, we're going to the same 4 regions. And yeah, stuff has changed, but you know what to expect, right? You know that to expect lava, water, a desert, and snow stuff. Would be very nice if they had like picked 4 different regions to do the main story bits in, because there's plenty of room on Breath of the Wild's Hyrule to do story bits. Yeah, what do you guys think about that? Backpack Studios said should have been called the iPad with EYE, not the Pura pad. Ganondorf laughs, spoiler intensifies. I'm going to switch the jump and sprint key. Right here then. It's very dark on my screen. That's of course probably kind of the point. I'm missing the parasail here. I'm jumping and then pressing the parasail button. I think. That is happening. Can imagine Zelda going like, I think, why can't you just be normal? And then go like, and then like a boo. Something my son would be constantly doing probably. Spider Link. Oh, this is so cool. I'm going to turn my own volume up. Like, critiquing the music, I will be doing that, but this opening section musically, this is just incredible stuff. This is really driving home the atmosphere they established in that initial trailer. Hi, Sashi, welcome back. Especially if you haven't seen those trailers and you're playing this, then you must be sweating like in 2 minutes from starting. Nandayo. Yeah, this is awesome. Like the initial concepts they had for this game were super cool. Kind of creepy, right? That it's actually a physical hand. It's not a ghost hand, it's a physical hand that's falling off. I also like this, like a little bit of mystery. He's got some quality jewelry. It's all still intact. Yeah, this is awesome. Hiya! Super nice. Yeah, health reduction. Kind of forgotten how cool this intro is. All that effort for a single drop of blood. Where's that from again? It's very cool that they're teasing a much wider story here. It really sparks the imagination, right? As long as you don't suspect that you're just getting 12 kind of shoddy memories again. Is it Lord of the Rings? All that effort for a single drop of blood? Maybe someone can remind where that's from. Oh, is it Thanos? Maybe. Maybe that's Thanos, yeah, I think you're right. Toonford says originally I saw the hole in his chest and hopefully it was a reference to Twilight Plus again, that's what I guess. Maybe that's one of those like visual motifs they just like to reuse. Yeah, this is so weird. Jovial says, why he does this so confusing. Oh no! Yeah, this is like one of the coolest shots in gaming. Like the composition, that diagonal lines, that's super awesome. And then his hand just completely gnarled. That's really cool. This as well, that she disappears. This is just an incredibly strong intro. Spooky hand. That's awesome. But yeah, he raises up the castle, and then he falls down. So what's happening? Like, is he doing... Why does that help him? And that's kind of immediately where the plot is kind of showing it's kind of janky, so to speak. This is also a very beautiful shot with the falling rocks. It's all aesthetically very beautiful musically. It's amazing. Plot-wise, at this point, like my mind was just running about all the stuff that's going to be happening, and you can't blame the intro for the rest of the plot not being very interesting. But this was very cool. I have to say, Toonforge says, coming back after having watched Raudu fight Ganondorf was epic. Yeah, that memory, and spoilers for the memories here, that memory where Ganondorf gets sealed, and the music there, that was very strong stuff. I was very impressed by that. This is a sick tattoo, bro. Bruh. All right, yeah, I will turn down the volume for the game. Pompidom. Let's do it like that. There we go. Is that better? I really love the voice that Rauru has, and Miniro as well. They both have like very confident, relaxed, but also characterful voices. Really like that. Hey Altar, welcome. Backpack Studios asks, who's your favorite character? Like conceptually, I do really like Mineru as a character, and that's also a spoiler. I will turn my microphone up, by the way. Whoopa. That's also a bit of a spoiler, of course. But the idea that she has been waiting for like millennia just to avenge her brother, I think that's kind of amazing. Her voice is fantastic, and the way you like the mecha body is also super cool. May not be mega useful always, but it was very cool, and also kind of quirky in that Zelda way. So it's epic and also quirky at the same time, and very colorful. So that's very Very cool. Lazarus says, I absolutely adore the beginning and ending music with the backward voices. I played the final approach at around 1 AM and actually unnerved because of the music. I had a few moments with this game as well that I was playing this late at night and that I was becoming a little bit nervous, so to speak. Sorry, UA. See you later for the next piano hangout stream. Pum pum pum. Let's see if the Master Sword can still hack away some vines, right? Let's see if it's able to do that. Yeah. The credits music with the backwards voices intro they had there wasn't in any of the promotional material. I thought it was very strong. Too bad that wasn't in the game proper. That's something that this game kind of has along with Breath of the Wild, right? It has a strong main theme, but it barely uses it. And in my opinion, that's something that they could have learned from Breath of the Wild. But instead of examining that and trying to improve on that, they kept on doing it. Sometimes with Tears of the Kingdom, they take Breath of the Wild's concepts, if they've worked or not, and then just keep doing it because of a sort of tradition for doing Breath of the Wild stuff. That's kind of mysterious to me. Stink lines coming out of the sword. Thanks, Timforge. Yeah. So let's have a gander, shall we? Can you game over here? That'd be wondrous. Hey, Smonastairs. Welcome back. It's not a piano hangout. We'll do one of those very soon again. I wanted to do something different, but unfortunately, I've already scared away UA for the spoilers. So sorry. Whoopa! I do think it's very nice that you actually start without the parasail. It does give you a kind of a different look on the game world, right? And it's actually surprising how long they let you play without a parasail. And maybe if they designed the game around it, it could have been an interesting way to differentiate this game more from Breath of the Wild. Let's put on some underpants, shall we then? Oh, it's all so grey and green. Yeah, this is a very cool moment as well. Walking out into the open. And here, ladies and gentlemen, we see the sky. Which, yeah, I'm not sure. We probably don't see the dungeons, but we probably see all of the sky stuff that's there in one fell swoop. It's not a whole lot. So here we have the Breath of the Wild moment. Trying to instill that same feeling of grandeur. It's very cool to see the Great Sky Island like this. And also it kind of hurts. And a dragon there. Europe. That's one of those things that's very nice to see when you know the story of that dragon. What happens if we don't do the thing? Oh, he does the thing automatically. I didn't press R. I just let him fall to his doom, but the game wouldn't have it. Yeah. So story time is over, which means that my brain doesn't have to work at double the speed anymore to follow what's happening in the game and talk to you folks. Yeah, Toonforge immediately says the same thing that I was thinking. They say, was hoping for more sky, considering that was one of the main pitches for the trailers. And that's kind of my point. Because from the trailers, the first trailer kind of was about the underground, right? And the second trailer was about the sky. And then I had the feeling with the following trailers that they never really solidified what they were going to do with those new concepts, right? And ultimately, playing this game, it turned out that the main gameplay hook is not actually the Sky Islands or the underground. It's actually going back to Hyrule. And that kind of hurt for me because I already went back to Hyrule so many times playing Breath of the Wild. Breath of the Wild is one of my is a top 3 video game for me. I did all the shrines, not all the Koroks, because I do value my sanity. Did all the shrines, saw every nook and cranny. So revisiting Hyrule, even a remixed Hyrule for me just didn't really work. And if we had like great Sky Island sized locations, let's say 4 or 5 of them, with more of a different theming, even if they'd used assets from Hyrule proper, right? If you had a snowy Sky Island, you had a lava-like Sky Island. I don't have any weapons anymore, do I? I'm gonna have to beat him with a stick. I'm gonna have to beat him with an apple. The tree branch. Then, you know, the fact that we were revisiting Hyrule again would have been offset a little bit by that, if you know what I'm saying. Jovial says preach, Tim. Lazarus says, LOL, my wife got all the Korok seeds and swore to never do it again. Yeah, I'm not doing that. Because it's more of a way for people to get enough of them without having to seek them out. And it's a way to diversify your replays. And that's something that Breath of the Wild does really well, and this game probably as well, because it borrows so much. Doing 100%, you know, if you're inclined, do whatever you like. But for me, I think I started over like 4 or 5 times in Breath of the Wild, and just every time after the plateau, just do something completely different. Just go into a different direction and do stuff in a different order and skip some stuff and see if the dialogue changes. And that was very fun. And that's actually something that Tears of the Kingdom also does very well. They're constantly giving you or showing you that they're seeing what you're doing. That, you know, the dialogue changes depending on the order in which you do things, depending on what you're wearing, depending on some key items in your inventory and stuff like that. Like almost every dialogue has some dynamic element in it in this game. And that's something that they really improved upon a lot compared to Breath of the Wild. But otherwise, yeah, I was talking about the revisiting of Hyrule. How was that for you folks? Were you like... did you feel like it was fresh enough to warrant an entire new game? Because this is a light roast, as I said. I'm not even drinking coffee while saying this. I should actually be drinking coffee. But I'm also curious what you all think, because many people on the interwebs have been raving about this game for the past months. And every time when I was like on a forum or on Twitter, I was like, yeah, the game didn't really work for me. Yeah, people did. Let's say people didn't want to hear it, but like in real life, so the few people friends of mine that I know that have played this game, not on the internet, but in real life, they were all like, yeah, this game is just much too similar. So that's kind of an interesting contradiction. I obtained the Nintendo Switch. Lazarus says, it felt so different, I was getting lost pretty often. Love the changes to the villages. Lazarus, Backpack Studio says, I feel like it's either you like it or you don't. Yeah, maybe it's a little bit more polarizing in that sense. Tall Ghost says, I love finding all the new caves and exploring those, and I like how Death Mountain had no lava, so it felt a lot different. Death Mountain, I think, is the single region that most felt like it had meaningful changes to it. So I agree with that. And Death Mountain also has a lot of caves. And caves is kind of the fourth world layer, so to speak. Sky Islands, Hyrule Caves, and then the depths. So I agree on that front. On the front of the villages, I actually completely skipped the villages, and the reason for that is, as you might know, I'm quite a musically minded person. And entering the villages... Yeah! Oh, he dies automatically as well here. I didn't press the button. One of the first things I did was look out for the villages and visit them again to see what has changed and what kind of awesome remixes they had. And they didn't. So the stables music is identical, and that's a piece of music that for me already got old really quickly in Breath of the Wild proper. And then Hateno Village didn't change. Kakariko Village didn't change. Lin also didn't change. And there were like some different remixes for the like the story towns. That was interesting, even though they kind of suffered from something that more of the original music in this game suffers from, which is that it's often a bit too cautious. I will talk about that later. But then if you solve the problem, then for the remainder of the game, it's all the same old music again that we've already known and loved, but known for years at this point. So yeah, maybe I let that overshadow my my enjoyment of the villages a bit too much. Oh, I'm not actually following the minimap. How about I make some progress? Making progress or just farting about? Toonfort says, I didn't mind some of the similarities, but I felt like it was the combination of having the same Hyrule and all the same basic gimmicks, great fairies for regions, made it a little too similar. Yeah, completely agree with that. You know, it's a sequel, so similarities, we're gonna have those, that's no problem. But the amount of similarities does kind of give the impression that they started developing this game and literally took Breath of the Wild as a base. Just started changing. Some folks were changing Hyrule, some folks were tasked with making the depths. And the depths, of course, is based on Hyrule. The height map, so the geography of the depths is Hyrule inverted. Which is a cool idea, but once you know it, you actually see how little there is to it. Oh yeah, that's something new they added that I really like. The head attacks. So many enemies now have ridiculous horns, which is great. So they also attack with their head, which caught me off guard a lot of times. Yeah, so what I was saying is they took Breath of the Wild as a base and just added stuff to it. To my, opinion, not really examining to what end they were changing stuff and adding stuff, what the concept was, what the thing was that the game was trying to communicate. With Breath of the Wild, it was very clear that it was trying to communicate stuff like loneliness and regret and stuff like that. Also kind of makes sense if you think about where Nintendo was at the time. But this game has some motifs of cooperation or community, but I'm not completely sure, even after finishing the game, what the themes were, and also how the gameplay kind of led into the narrative motifs. And that does give me a feeling that this is, I'm going to say it, it's not DLC. Like, if this was if Breath of the Wild was an MMO, and MMOs get yearly expansions, right? If Breath of the Wild had been an MMO, and they did a yearly expansion for 6 years, well, that's kind of how Tears of the Kingdom feels to me. Which, you know, it's not per se a bad thing, maybe, and a lot of people really dig it. Yeah, but for me, meh. This is a very beautiful location, by the way, the new Temple of Time. I do really enjoy this. There's one of the shots in the second trailer, right, where they're coming to this Temple of Time in the... Ooh, give me the sword. Thank you. At night, that really sparked the imagination. What kind of other awesome temple-like structures are there in the sky? Well, not so many, it turns out. Let's read some chat. I don't want to forget about you all. Yeah, Garuda Desert also changed some stuff, like with the pits you can fall into and stuff. Especially during the opening of that story quest, when there's a sandstorm, you have the Gibdos walking around. That's very cool. Jovial says Lurelin had a full Save the Village quest and did not get a new theme for that. Yeah, and it started with gathering wood. Like, you know, you did that in Breath of the Wild probably because you had so much new stuff to make that you have to keep the quest relatively simple. But now you've got the sequel. Maybe you can do something interesting, but it's still gathering wood and then gathering rice and stuff. Yeah. Oh well. Yeah, Cadence says, I liked a lot of the changes, but sometimes wish they went a bit further. Yeah, I agree with that. And it's kind of, like I was saying about the music, in a lot of ways it feels like this game is a little bit cautious. And I kind of understand that. It must have been very hard standing in their shoes to make the sequel to a game that sold like 5 times more than the previous most successful game in the series. And became a cultural phenomenon and launched their do or die system. So I completely understand that they were nervous. And it kind of feels like they then figured out, let's just do something that stays very close to Breath of the Wild. Let's just take Breath of the Wild, try to freshen it up a little bit, and don't stray too far from it. So we know that it's going to be a success. And in that way, it kind of does to Breath of the Wild what a lot of Zelda games did to Ocarina of Time, which is taking something that was constructed in an amazing way to fit within certain budget, technical, and time constraints, and then taking the constraints and taking those along with you for other games. Why are there 2 Temples of Time? That's an interesting thing. That's something that Zelda does often, right? Not giving answers to that kind of thing, which I do really enjoy. Hi, Sean. Sean Pope asks, have you beaten the game? I have. Yeah, and within the first month or so. And the way I was playing it is I was really looking for... what kind of new stuff is there in this? I was trying to skip as much of Hyrule as I could because... Hyrule again. Alright. I can play Hyrule again. I have done so. I can play Breath of the Wild, right? So I had a bit of a weird playstyle. I skipped a lot of shrines. That's also something I would like to talk about. Because of like, shrines again. Yeah, and I know these are different shrines with different powers, but shrines were one of those things that were clearly a limitation of the way Breath of the Wild had to be developed. And I was kind of thinking they had integrated the shrines more into the game world. But they didn't. Again, they took a constraint that Breath of the Wild had to adhere to for some reason that they didn't. I'm not sure, of course I don't really know, but it would have been one of the central points to have some more meaningful interiors, and maybe also to have the shrines be seamless, and they do try to give you that feeling. But it's still shrines, and they don't adapt to their environment, they all look the same, so I kind of skipped that. But ultimately, I did finish the game. I discovered a lot of the depths, which I enjoyed. until I discovered that there's not much to the depths. There's no villages, for instance. I was really looking for villages in the sky and on the ground. I even made a musical speculation track that's on Spotify as well, called Skytown. Kind of visualizing what a Skytown in the Breath of the Wild style would have been like, but there was none. But I had unlocked most of that. I had done all the sages, including the 5th one, which is also an entire other subject. Too long, didn't read. Adored the aesthetics of the 5th sage. It was a sort of Skyward Sword, but then through a bit of a darker lens, which I completely agree with. That was artistically very cool, but gameplay-wise, it just completely fell flat for me. And we're going to see why real soon. Smash Highlights says, I kind of agree on the DLC analogy, but that's enough for me. Just wanted more content, and Tears of the Kingdom has a lot more. Yeah, well, I respect that, of course. You know, it's a great framework to work with. Toonforge says they tried a final boss rush. Ooh, like with a new save and then not doing the quests, because you can get an official boss rush in this game if you don't do the sages. Yeah, Backpack Studios says, I like how you can go to the depths and defeat the main bosses again, as well as harder ones. I really enjoyed that as well, with the music as well, so you can have a listen again to the Colgera music. And Colgera is a little bit harder, I think, underground, which kind of allows the music to play a little bit more. Yeah, Cadence says, after a while I just activated the fast travel points and shrines. Me too, I just activated them. Sometimes I looked inside to see if it was another Ultra Hand shrine. Oftentimes it was, and then I noped right back out because Ultra Hand is just not my thing. If it was an Ascent shrine or a Combat shrine, I often did them because those were fun. Stephanie Turner asks, what about all the Yiga hideouts in the depths? I found that quite amusing. Yeah, that was really amusing. I really like that one as well. Also, you know, if you don't really like Ultra Hand like me, getting an auto build like recipe was a very cool kind of reward for doing the Yiga hideouts. But then in between the Yiga hideouts, the depth only has one exploration music for the entire depth. So then, okay, you leave the Yiga hideout. That was very cool. Walk, 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 same music. Not much happens. You try to build a vehicle, but because it's dark, you drive against all kind of rocks, and it doesn't work. I did quite enjoy the Master Koga rematches in the depths. Kind of gave my boy some time to shine. And they updated his music, but there as well, maybe the Master Koga music is a bit of a nice way to view the game as a whole. So they took the Master Koga music from Breath of the Wild, they added extra instruments to it, and that's it. That's kind of what they did. And, you know, for people who weren't obsessed with the Breath of the Wild soundtrack for years, hearing Master Koga music again was probably a joy. And for me as well, but, you know, I know these people can make some amazing music. Please let them do that. Let them stretch their legs a little bit. Ah, this is about as far as my Ultra Hand skills go. Ba-doom boom boom. For a hard rush. Wow. What is really fun, by the way Master Koga is ultimately defeated, he gets shot into the sky. And in Breath of the Wild, he didn't get shot into the sky. He fell down a pit. So the way you ultimately defeat him in the ending cutscene, it goes like the opposite direction of where he went in Breath of the Wild. I thought it was very funny. Ultra Hand. Yeah, so Ultra Hand is kind of the main gimmick of this game. I think. Would you agree? I think most of you might agree with that. Most shrines are Ultra Hand shrines, and a lot of stuff you do in Hyrule proper is also Ultra Hand stuff. And I just didn't really click with it. I didn't really glue with it. It was kind of fiddly. And sometimes if you made, oftentimes in my case, I tried to make something and it just didn't work because the physics just did something completely different than I expected. And then you have to try it again, fiddling, and try it again. Ultimately, I often created something very ugly that sort of worked after 15 minutes of utter frustration. And because Ultra Hand is kind of the main hook of this game, it really impacted my enjoyment as well. My favorite rune was, what's it called here? Hand power? Was actually Ascend. Ascend is the kind of thing now I'm playing different games. I was playing Dragon Quest Builders with the kid. And I'm constantly thinking, when can I finally ascend? Where's my Ascend power? That's a very cool power for sure. Reading the chat. Team Rocket ending, yeah, absolutely. Ooh. Backpack Studios says, Ascend was originally a debug. Thought it was interesting. Oh, that's cool. So they were, was actually a tool for the developers. And then they kept it in. Yeah, nice. It's a very fun power for sure. You did very well getting through that shrine, and you've restored an ability. This is wonderful. But Auto is a top 5 Zelda character design. When he was first teased, I called him Goat Mom. Thought it was a lady, but it's Goat Guy. Yup. It's a very cool looking character, and I was kind of hoping that he would return in more of a way than just as the king from Breath of the Wild, but unfortunately that's just what he is. Whee! Wank. That's also a way in which this game used really close to Breath of the Wild. So having Rauru, small spoiler, first king of Hyrule, be the king of Hyrule, the same role that the original king had in Breath of the Wild. Is that a nod or is that too much recycling? For me, that feels like a fun nod actually. Let's see. Hello. I'm just going to whack the Y button on this digital bokoblin person. Smash Highlights asks, what are your thoughts on dungeons in Tears of the Kingdom? Aesthetically, I really enjoyed them. The Fire Temple was a very cool looking place. You know, for dungeons, my high watermark is either Skyward Sword or Twilight Princess. Twilight Princess aesthetically has very cool dungeons, and Skyward Sword aesthetically and gameplay wise is just incredible stuff. But you know, mechanically speaking, honestly, I think the dungeons in Tears of the Kingdom are less interesting than the Divine Beasts were, because essentially, from if you'd seen the gray box version, so the version without the art, but with just the level design, yeah, those are essentially Divine Beasts. But Divine Beasts had a little bit more of a linear design. You had to kind of go through them from terminal to terminal, and then sometimes go back to a terminal and a different route and stuff. It was kind of wiggling your way about. And these ones are more of a wheel with spokes design. So there's a central hub in the dungeon, and then there's different levels, essentially. And that kind of turned it more into a collection of rooms, and less in a congruent place. And also the Divine Beasts had their own unique mechanics, with the trunk for Varuta and the wings for Vamedo, etc. It had you manipulating the dungeon as a whole. And that was a very cool concept that these ones just didn't have. So gameplay-wise, I feel like these ones were a bit of a regression, actually. But aesthetically, they were amazing. I think my favorite one... Let's see. Sorry, first I have to figure out what I'm actually doing. That's where I come from. There's a boat here. There's a fence there, so there's probably water. Oh, yeah. So they're showing you that you can make a raft. Just before you have to make a raft. Can you use the raft as a plank? It doesn't look like it. Looks like they made it exactly long enough, wide enough to fill into that gap. The Lightning Temple is a very cool temple. Music is fantastic. The aesthetics are fantastic. I think gameplay-wise, it holds up the best of the bunch. Kind of has that Arborist Grounds feeling to it, which is a very, very good thing. Indeed, in my opinion. The Wind Temple gave me a little bit Skyward Sword vibes, which is a very good thing, but gameplay-wise, didn't... Ooh, yeah. So this is my Ultra Hand experience in a nutshell. Gameplay-wise, it felt a little bit too much like a collection of rooms. And like I said, the 5th dungeon, aesthetically amazing. Gameplay-wise, absolutely not my thing. Just didn't work for me whatsoever. And musically, it's so good. I don't hear people talk about that very much, but probably because of the way the music is implemented there. But like, Mineru's full theme plays as soon as you've solved that temple, and only plays as long as you hang around there after having solved it. So there's no reason for you to stay there, but if you do, you hear the complete theme with the cello, and it's so utterly beautiful. That's one of the tracks I really want to make a cover of as well. If you look for it online, I think it's called Construct Factory 5 or something like that. Absolutely beautiful. I really enjoyed the boss for the Water Temple, but the Water Temple itself was just a collection of rooms. And the Fire Temple was, aside from the 5th temple, I think that was one of the most frustrating things I've played in the Zelda game since Majora's Mask. Just did not gel with it whatsoever. Let's read some chat then. Stephanie Turner says, I accidentally ascended into the Queen Gibdo room before I finished the temple. What would have happened if you'd done that? Could you then do the fight immediately? Oh, CG Boss says, yeah, I did that too. The boss just doesn't start. Oh, okay. Boom, boom, boom. Yeah, the Fire Temple. What a mess that was for me to fix it. Like it's a complete mess of wires. It's really unclear what route goes to what place. So solving it for me was just going back and forth all the time, falling out of out of carts, and then ending up where I started. It was yeah, it was not a lot of fun. I'm not sure if we're going to get this far. I'm not sure if this is going to be a series of streams or just a single one. We'll see. Am I doing this right, folks? I'm not actually sure if I'm moving towards the shrine. Oh, there's one. Alright. Hi. Bye. Oh yeah, there's one. You have to build a boat there. Right. Okay, that makes sense. 2. There's also... You have to get up here, right? Let's make a janky stair. These blocks are fun, by the way. Very Nintendo way to solve a gameplay problem. Just floating blocks. Because magic. Come on. You can do it. No, you can't. Okay, so then let's just take this one. Interesting gameplay right here, everybody. Yeah, I do feel like I'm more in my strength when I play the piano. But I'm enjoying kind of revisiting this with you all and kind of ruminating. These are kind of my shower thoughts about the game. I think I'm not actually in the right place, am I? I do think this... Come on! Nope. This Great Sky Island is a very clever concept. To have more of a linear set of challenges. Like, they could do away with shrines altogether and just make, like, 10 Sky Islands and have each Sky Island give you 4 light orbs, whatever they're called. Differently themed Sky Islands. There you go. I would have loved that. Maybe for the next one. Let's read some chat. Whoop! He. Jonk. So, musically, I gave a little bit of a hint that I thought they were a little bit too cautious at times. And I still feel like that. There were, like, musically the budget was, I think, they had a lot of budget to work with. Like this music, as soon as you reach a temple, like every phase, there's like 5 phases for each temple. Every phase has its own fully orchestrated, live musicians, distinct piece of music. And the dungeon that made most use of that was the Wind Temple, obviously, because a lot of people, when we're talking about music, they're talking about the Wind Temple. Because the Wind Temple makes statements, right? The music is not afraid to be noticed. It's not completely in the background. There's a lot of music in these 2 Zelda games. Often is. However, each time when it's not really in the background, it's actually quoting from Breath of the Wild. It's either quoting Vamedo, or it's quoting Rito Village, which in itself is a quote of Dragon Roost Island, of course. And I was playing, okay, you're saying something. You're saying this is a sequel to Breath of the Wild. I know. Okay, now say something new. Make your statement. Do something cool. And then they just don't. In my opinion. Every time the music swells, and okay, something awesome's gonna happen, and it's Rito Village again. And it's Vamedo again. Okay, that's cool, of course, but I know those tunes. And Colgera comes closest, along with Queen Gibdo, and like the final piece of music when you solve the 5th dungeon. Those come closest to actually having a new, interesting statement. Listen to this, those pieces of music say, which is cool. Colgera has its very nice little quote, and then it starts quoting Breath of the Wild again. But you know, that kind of stuff, that's lovely. Stretch your legs. Allow this game to be its own thing. Allow the music to be its own thing as well. Stop completely looking at Breath of the Wild all the time and do your thing. Do something new. Yeah. In my opinion, they could have stretched their legs a little bit more. Would have really enjoyed that. I think the boss for the water temple. I think the boss music in general really did that. Tried to stretch their legs and make a new statement. And you know about new music, of course. That one's also hysterical. Because we all know that Nintendo has some of the best composers in the business. And sound designers and all that kind of stuff. And they have a beautiful studio. So they can do it. They just elected to continuously quote Breath of the Wild instead of really doing something new. Oh well, I think I have to look for a third log, right? Because if I drop this in the water, then it's just going to be hashtag Ultra Hand fail again. I can give it a try, of course. Maybe I'm wrong. Look at my beautiful creation. The most beautiful creation in Hyrule. Hey, Mr. Andrew, welcome. You're actually coming into a chat for a stream. That's the first time that I'm doing this kind of gameplay stream. Usually I'm a Mr. Pianist man. But now I'm griping about a game made by people much more talented than I. Oh, thank you, Tall Ghost. I will try to break the boxes that way next time. Oh yeah, Stephanie Turner, you can check out my Wind Temple suite. I actually play that music. But I only play the version that's using all the layers. It's the one that after Tulin's theme. Tulin's theme is also precious, by the way. It's just very, very short. Mr. Andrew asks, what's your opinion of the story? I personally loved it, but the problem with the story is how they tell it. Example, like Ganondorf swears loyalty, then in the next scene, he, does something very nasty. They told nothing. Yeah, I think I agree. There's not much tension, right, in that situation, because he swears loyalty, but it's immediately clear in the same scene that he's not actually swearing loyalty. So there's not much of a tension there. Also, you already know that he's going to be the baddie, because you've seen him at the start of the game. But I think that's a kind of a consequence of having 12 memories. It's not a whole lot of material to work with, right? It's like 15 minutes. If you want to tell something in 15 minutes, you have to be a very good storyteller, and, well, yeah. Ooh, where's my bombs? No bombs. Too bad. So I think I agree with you. Also, the story just kind of ends as well, right? You just... Spoilers for the end of the game. You go towards Ganondorf. He says, "You finally come to kill me." You kill him. You have the Dark Beast Ganon moment. And then the story's over. So what was the story, really? I think Mineru's... oh, whoopsie daisy. Mineru's story as a character has a lot of potential to be interesting. I think what happened to the Zonai, like there was only 2 of them left. Where was the rest? What kind of life did they lead? Where did they go? Why were they here? Etc. Lots of questions about the backstory that could have made for an more interesting story than bad guy arrives, bad guy and bad. And that way, I also feel like where Breath of the Wild's lore felt very rich, so to speak, because the setting and the narrative and the cutscenes and everything was all focused around a single event, very clearly defined event that left visible marks all over the game world. And here we're doing Zonai stuff, but we don't know, and we also don't learn who the Zonai were who made these temples and why, what those blessings of light are, it's just not completely clear. That's nice. Must have been very painful for Link to get all the stuff on his head. Let's wreck some rackety-zees. Point. Fuse is a fun ability. I'm not sure if it's as dynamic as the abilities from Breath of the Wild are. It's a bit of a glorified menu, right? The fuse stuff. It could have been just a menu option, and then you would have all of the abilities of fuse right there. There's not really a lot of times where you want to use it dynamically in the middle of a situation. In that sense, Ultra Hand and Ascend are two much more dynamic abilities. Recall is also dynamic, but it's very limited in its uses, right? Small key. Read a little bit of chat again. He does look a lot like Demise, doesn't he? But that was also a visual nod, which I'm completely okay with. Yeah, the Souls games are very good with telling their story through your immersion in the game world. And I think Breath of the Wild also kind of hints at that approach. This game just kind of misses the narrative substance to do that to the same effect. Ah, Montuene, hi. Montuene says, off topic, I recently played Onafscheidelijk, that's a piano piece of mine, at church. And many people commented on what a nice arrangement it was. Oh, well done. Well done. Onafscheidelijk, that one is... Yeah, I really enjoyed that one as well. It was written for a friend of mine back in high school, and I recently reconnected with him, which was very nice. Ah, the shrine. That's another piece of music that I want to do. I don't want to be all negative, right? This is a light roast. The music for this one, shrine combat music, is so cool. It's in a very strange time signature. It's like in 13/8 or something. I tried drumming along to it, and it was a challenge. So doing a piano version of that is going to be a lot of fun. Okay, let's just cheese this. Cheese this the way that it's meant to be cheesed, right? Let's take a nice bow. I don't have any nice bows. Doesn't matter. Timber. What happens if you shoot him with garlic? If you shoot me with garlic, I just become stronger because I really like garlic. Ooh, he's on fire and he's kind of stunned. Okay, that's interesting. Oh, you could also set the ground on fire here. I really hope that they keep the multiple solutions to situations approach in the next one. They just have to... they don't have to do anything, of course. These people are amazing. I don't have to tell them what to do. But it would be nice if they elected for a smaller overworld, like a third of Hyrule, and then dotted it with a lot of sky islands, or something similar, instead of shrines. And just go ham with the music. Don't be shy. Just do a Final Fantasy VII remake on the music where there's constant amazing music playing. That game's music is incredible. Let's see, I'm gonna read some chat again. Tall Ghost says, having the gameplay take place in the past would have been so awesome. Then it really could be a new Hyrule, and we could interact with Ganon as he's doing his revenge betrayal thing. Yeah, I was thinking of that as well, when Zelda's looking out over Hyrule. When, small spoiler, she's in the past. And I was like, I want to discover that Hyrule, where there's Zonai around, and there's, like, the Gerudo are very different, and, you know, they could have changed all kinds of stuff. That would have been very interesting. Oh well, but probably it was out of scope. I have the feeling that they didn't have the budget for this one that they had for Breath of the Wild, and maybe that's because of the upcoming Switch successor that's asking a lot of resources. Wouldn't surprise me. You can see that the Zelda designers and like the tech people, the Zelda tech lead became the tech lead for Nintendo as a whole, if I remember correctly. But those people just completely went ham. So the designers with all of the items and all of the shrines and the caves and stuff, but they might not have had as much artist time as they had for Breath of the Wild, which might explain why there's so much reuse of assets. Ooh, a nice stick. That's not a stick, Link. Okay. You know, our guy has his priorities in order, that's fine. Boom. Smash Highlights says, I heard someone say the Shrine Battle song has a reference to Ocarina of Time minigames, but I couldn't find it. Oh, really? Not immediately going, there's a lot of similarities in this, but maybe. Thematically, it doesn't make a whole lot of sense if there would have been similarities between those two, so it's probably coincidental. And also, yeah, Cadence says it felt odd just to replace almost everything Sheikah with Zonai. Where did all the Sheikah stuff go? Yeah, it was kind of a... It feels like they really... They really just replaced it, right? First, from a gameplay perspective, okay, we want these weird new tools. People are probably kind of done with the Sheikah, so we need a new Sheikah. Zonai is the new Sheikah. And then we'll figure it out after that. Which is how Nintendo often does things, granted, so it's not inherently a bad approach. But it definitely... Ooh! They definitely succeeded with that much more in Breath of the Wild than with this one. To make it make sense gameplay-wise, and also make it make sense and be inspiring narratively. Yeah, there's a lot less rupees in this game in general, right? And less ingredients as well, to my recollection. I wasn't never really farming rupees because I was just in a mad dash to see everything that wasn't Breath of the Wild copy-paste. Oh, you can cook this. Oh, what? That's something different than I wanted to have. I wanted to have cold protection, but that's not the way to get cold protection. Oh well. It's getting dark in here. So dark! This is very cool that they have caves on a sky island. There's like a few special sky islands where you get special pieces of armor that also have caves in them. Like, I'm constantly wondering... Oopsie daisy. Because they touch on so many super cool concepts that they, for some reason, don't really follow through on. Like, really inspiring, varied caves inside inspiring sky islands. But it's all just kind of there. I wonder how much is actually left on the cutting room floor for this game. Oh, this one's tough. Hello? Bam. Because from a technological point of view, what they've accomplished with this is kind of a miracle. But maybe it kind of required them to go back on much of their ambitions. What we're left with is just something that's more of a hint of what may be to come. Maybe I'm wrong, of course, because it's also very ambitious what they ultimately made. Mr. Andrew, oopsie! Next time, if I ever do this again, I'm have to go to see how I can have the chat on a screen closer to the gameplay screen. Mr. Andrew says that I feel like the depths was the least well-designed area. I finished everything at around 225 hours. Respect. Yeah, the depths has some hints of becoming a more interesting area, right? With some parts that have lava and stuff. But it never really seems to follow through on that. Yay! The best look in the game, everybody! Bam! I was kind of fantasizing about having a magma city underground, and then a Zonai city in the Sky Island or town, but it was obviously not in scope. I'm going to say something very weird while I'm being frustrated doing Ultra Hand stuff. I'm a huge fan of the original Super Mario Galaxy. Right, that's one of my top 3 games, along with Breath of the Wild. You have to figure out which one the last one is, the third one. Oh, I'm not allowed to take that one. What's going on? Sorry, I have to read the dialogue for a change. They have need of this part. Okay. Anyways, Super Mario Galaxy 2 is actually one of my biggest gaming disappointments. Which is also a thing that people have been cursing at me for every time that I brought it up, because you're supposed to love Super Mario Galaxy 2. How dare you say something critical about Super Mario Galaxy 2? But this game is to Breath of the Wild what Galaxy 2 was to Galaxy, in my opinion. They take an incredible piece of art, they expand the band on it a lot, in some ways, very impressive ways, very thoughtful, intelligent ways. But the end result for me just doesn't feel as cohesive. Doesn't feel as an original vision, an original idea, so to speak. Like if this game took part on the Sky Islands much more than it actually does, then it would have worked much better for me, because then it would have been much more of its own thing. And Mario Galaxy 2 took the original Mario Galaxy and kind of went, alright, let's do more levels, but this time there's blue skies for some reason, even though we're in space. So they even do away with the great concepts of the original. But yeah, you're probably getting mad at me for this sacrilege, being critical of both Mario Galaxy 2 and Tears of the Kingdom. But that's why I announced this as a light roast, right? It's a light roast. I do think the aesthetics here with the yellow trees is absolutely gorgeous. Does kind of overstay its welcome, of course, because of the way that assets are reused so much. But it's absolutely gorgeous. Like the art director, can't really think of his name right now, but he's also did the art direction for many Zelda games before. He's one of the best in the business. Excuse me. It's Choo-Choos again! Do you still like Choo-Choos after 300 hours of Breath of the Wild and now again? They're cute at least. You have to whack them with your sword in the same way. Light roast. I'm also being constructive and positive about this. Let's read some chat. Ooh, Tall Ghost says, I like how every hot spring has a lava falls in the depths. Yeah, that's fun. Yeah, there's also there's more similarities, right, between the Hyrule and the depths. There's a hot spring underneath of the Shrine of Resurrection, if I remember correctly. Jan Keto said, it's okay to dislike a game. I know, but people on the internet can be so mean sometimes. And I'm just way too much of a softie to deal with that. Meh. The Cold Mage says, I think the Zelda team really used this game as an opportunity to experiment with new mechanics in a safe environment, so they have a good proof of concept for future games. Yeah, I think I agree. I'm not sure if it's really about the future games, but you know, the safety that they kind of bought by reusing so much Breath of the Wild stuff, they did use that to go ham with just crazy physics stuff that's people would have called undoable if you told them beforehand. So yeah, I completely agree with that. Oh no, Toonforge has exactly the same opinion as I about Mario Galaxy. Smash highlights as well. They say, this is the Super Mario Galaxy 2 of Zelda in many ways. Personally liked Super Mario Galaxy 2 and Tears of the Kingdom, but can appreciate the complaint. Yeah, right. Like Toonforge also says, didn't have the cohesiveness. What's my favorite way to eat potatoes? Jerry asks. Ooh, is this dark or did I ride against the wall? No, this is dark. Ow. My favorite way to eat potatoes is to put them in my mouth. Hope that answers your question. Mr. Andrews says he prefers Galaxy 2 over 1, but prefers Tears of the Kingdom because of the feelings I had in the game. Yeah, Tears of the Kingdom, Breath of the Wild, sorry, Breath of the Wild because of the feelings. Breath of the Wild is a very emotionally charged game, right? In many ways. Very powerful. And still, when I see screenshots, it really resonates with me in a very strong way. You know, it's all right. They made a masterpiece in 2017, and now they made a very impressive other game as well. So maybe it's all not so bad. No, that's exactly what it is. It's a video game. Breath of the Wild was super inspiring. This one is a little bit less inspiring, but you know, whatever. Really thankful that they're here at all. Also really thankful for Super Mario Wonder, by the way, which does look like the Mario game that I've wanted ever since Yoshi's Island. Yeah, I don't think I will be expanding my Zonai knickknacks right now. Oh, I have to. Take it! Do I have some? I have to engage with the video game I'm playing. I do not have some. Okay, there's no dispenser here. Take it. Oh, okay. You're allowed to say that you have them, even though you don't have them. That's one of the things this game often does very right, in that you often don't see dialogue like that when it's not applicable. In this case, you do see it, probably because they want to teach you that stuff am important. Sorry, right, boink. But usually this game is very, very good with that. I really like this part Just looking at those pretty clouds with the nice colors and all. Now I've got the Ocarina of Time minigame music in my head. Hello, Mr. Auru. Hello. So, ooh, there's a block golem there. That's always fun. Still figuring out where I have to go. There's a cold place. I'm not. You're not. I also didn't bother with the Koroks at all, by the way. I was like, Koroks? Again? And their dialogue works the same. And these ones are sort of new, but they're also Ultra Hand Koroks, so goodbye. Okay, so I can skip that part because that's going to Korok land. I can just go to the cold thing immediately, right? Let's give it a go. I do not have anything warm on me, by the way. I can probably... Can I fuse one of those fruits to my stick and make myself warm? Let's see. Potatoes are good in your mouth. Yeah, absolutely. Stephanie Turner says, I make potato wedges with an amazing combination of seasonings and it's cooked up in the oven to get crispy. Now I'm hungry. I have beaten the game. Yes, I do. You can shield surf on the rails. Excuse me? Seriously? Oh wait, I did know that, but I never did it. Okay, gotta do it. And then can you also do a fan on your shield and then make it into a little minecart? No, you probably can't. Holy compressed textures, Batman. Oof. Okay, let's go. Yeehaw. Okay. Hey! Thank you for the tip. Maybe I'm just a doofus. No, that's not in doubt. I am just a doofus. Maybe I'm just too dumb to enjoy this game. But that's also something that... I think it's a line that Breath of the Wild walked very well, in which you have freedom, but it's also really clear what the intended solution is in which you'll have fun. So you can do it in a different way if you'd like, but this is the intended solution that's going to give you a good time if you execute on it. And for this game, they give you so much freedom often that I'm just torturing myself with an awful playstyle. You know, that's a short story for the fire temple. In my case, not being able to read the intended solution and then just cursing for 2 hours straight. Oh, this is the one with the broken rail where you have to use multiple minecarts. Oh no, and I just used one for my shield. There's another one. By the way, what you're seeing right now is that I'm not actually that bad with Ultra Hand. Only just a little bit bad. But you know, that's after many, many hours of cursing. Oh, yeah, that was my warmth. We're gonna make it, everybody, yeah. No, we don't. Okay, and this is where Tears of the Kingdom just starts kind of losing me already. So I've just used one of the minecarts for my shield. I'm so sorry, Toonforge, for singing the minigame music all the time. Yeah, my... oh, I know what to do. My son and my wife have a very hard life. Sometimes I have like 10 seconds of music in my mind, just playing over and over and over again for the entire day. And I don't even really mind, honestly, because I don't know. For me, it's not that bad. You know, I also compose music, so I always have lots of music in my mind. But, you know, for the people around me, it can be very annoying to hear Ocarina of Time minigame music the entire day. So this is the intended second solution they hint at. That I didn't see in my first playthrough. After this, I will read some chat again, by the way, because I've kind of neglected you a little bit too much. I do like reading chat a lot. That castle in the distance, by the way, I immediately have to think of Bowser's Fury, which has a lovely castle with a lovely piece of music. Come on! Thank you. Unfortunately, there's nothing to that castle, as everybody who's been there knows. Spoiler. There's just a shrine down there. And an optional piece of armor. Oh well. It's about the journey, not about the destination. Reading some chat. Smash Highlights says, I think the next Zelda is bound to be in a new world. Hopefully they stick with the open world formula. Absolutely. I really hope that they're going to go through the same process that they went through making Breath of the Wild. Which is throw everything in the maybe pile and look at it with fresh eyes and think to yourself, did we do this because it was the best idea or because of the constraints we were working under? And then make new decisions. Hey, this is an Ascent situation, but I do not yet have Ascent, do I? Am I playing this wrong? Did I miss something? Am I, in fact, a dummy? We all know the answer to that, right? Okay, we have to go through the cold area anyways. The entire thing with the rail was just to save a Korok that I didn't save because Koroks are stupid. Wee! Yes, I have 100% at Breath of the Wild. I did, at least I did every shrine, and that kind of requires you to do a lot of spicy peppers. Yeah, a lot of the stuff that the game asks you of, and quite enjoyed it, honestly. Okay, so I have to cook the spicy peppers, not the fire fruits. So that's something different. There's a stove. Oh, I do love these first few caves. When you still think that every cave is going to be distinct. Which they aren't. It's all just caves like this, as we all know. There's lots of stuff hidden in this one, right? There's a frog at the other side of that wall. Boom, 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 boom. Magpie Drawl says, I felt like nearly every Tears of the Kingdom shrine could be cheesed by recall. Maybe even easier to cheese in Breath of the Wild for me. Yeah, if you're creative with recall, you can do a lot of shenanigans. Just making elevators for yourself, for instance, right? That's very easy with recall. You just move a platform up and down, and then there's your elevator. You can go anywhere. Gold. There's a frog. Hello, I'm going to assault you, even though there's nothing you did wrong. You have to headshot them, right? Ooh, okay, let's go. Let's do it. Nope. Mr. Frog, would you please hold still? I'm not trying to hurt you. I'm trying to help you. That is Lord of the Rings quote, by the way. I'm reading Lord of the Rings right now, the English version. And the kid has watched the movies with me, and he's completely infatuated with Lord of the Rings right now. Aragorn is his favorite guy, because he's kind of funny, but he's also really cool. And he lights the Nazgul on fire. Oh, Mr. Bubble Frog. Hello. Thank you. Now please don't fall down. Thank you. Like the book, Lord of the Rings, the book is like one big poem, which makes it hard to read at times, but it's also kind of awesome how dense it is. It's so dense. Every single page has so many things going on. That's a very old meme, by the way. I'm a very old person. I turned 35 last month. 35! That's ancient in the interwebs terms. Oh, that's not gonna work. Beep, 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 beep. Still the minigame music. I do remember there was a chest in here somewhere, right? Or was it the next cave? I think that's the next cave. Poo, 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 poo. No, Mr. Furukawa, we did not change the food system either. Sorry for being so salty, by the way. I do think that combat could have used an overhaul. As I said, I'm now playing Final Fantasy VII Remake. That combat system is incredible. Like, there's plenty of depth, but it also feels very good to play, and it's also not too complicated. They have a very nice balance. Hopefully, they do a nice combat overhaul for the Zelda that's going to come out in 2030. Let's go! Still minigame music. I'm going to fight the guy. No, I'm not going to fight the guy. Why should I? Bottomless cave. I really enjoyed the return of bomb flowers, by the way. Absolutely adore the things. They look so cute, and the explosions are so juicy to look at. Juicy explosions. Hello? Are you alright? Sir? Are you alright? He is alright. Am I allowed to hit you with my minecart? You have to headshot them twice? Hello? Okay. It's a very weird way of interacting with them. Hey Skelly, yeah, it's been a long while. Welcome to this first gameplay stream. It was a hassle to set this up, but I'm glad to have tried it at least once. I do watch the gameplay streams that Monster Maze does every now and then. I think they're a nice addition to a hashtag content creators. Hashtag content. We'll see what the numbers do. But at least it's cozy with y'all. Numbers usually on this channel aren't so great. Very fortunate with my Spotify and Patreon folks. And with you who are here, of course. Let's read some chat. Ah, Jankito says, I thought you were like 23, 25. That's very kind of you, Jankito. Maybe that's because this camera kind of softened my features. I am, in fact, a large-nosed person who's 35 years old. I'm also a doofus, so that may help in making me look younger. Being a doofus. Ha! Smash Highlight says you've got the Ocarina of Time minigame key right. Ha! There's a few songs that I know really well that I often have the key right of. Which is handy at times. Yes, Mr. Like, you live here. I'm not going to assault you just for living here. You're allowed to live here. I'm just passing through. I often skip combat encounters. I did that in Breath of the Wild as well. But don't think combat is satisfying enough to engage in that often. Someone who said, yeah, Toll Ghost says, I love the competent Twilight Princess with the hidden skills. And me too, the competent Twilight Princess is crunchy. It has a very good game feel. I think traversal-wise, Tears of the Kingdom also has great game feel. And Breath of the Wild. Flame emitter shield. They're referencing another trailer here. That's fun. Yes, Mr. Like, am I allowed to pass? I would like to just grab the chest over there. Thank you. He's drooling. That's not a good sign. So maybe, thank you that I was allowed to reach the chest. Now I'm going to leave you again. Goodbye. Say hi to the kids for me. There we go. Gotta love being a doofus. Skelly says, after all these months, I still don't know where to find the Great Sky Island shirt. The one I'm wearing right now? It's in one of the first caves you come across. Skelly also says, I tried learning the Kogera theme, but gosh diddly darn, it's hard. It is. It's a very hard thing. Surprisingly, the is quite alright to play. I arranged it that way. Very happy with that. I kind of succeeded in making it easier to play while sounding better than what I had initially. It's a little bit less faithful, but it uses the instrument better. But all the key changes are definitely quite difficult. Bam. Does anyone know what the bell is for that the Temple of Time is emitting? Tolgos also says, oh yeah, what was the subscriber milestone? You were gonna play Mascotia and Dark Beast together? 100,000 subscribers. If it ever happens, and I'm questioning it, because like many Zelda YouTube kind of persons, a lot of Tears of the Kingdom content doesn't really do very well. So I haven't had a lot of growth. Like I had a month where I had like 1,000 subscribers in a month, just before release. And then the game released and everybody was like, well, you know, the people who were like lots of people were very positive about the game, but looking at the numbers that Tears of the Kingdom content is doing, lots of people who aren't as vocal are not as enthused about it, because Tears of the Kingdom content just doesn't do very much. And my channel is, I was hoping for a enormous channel boost with Tears of the Kingdom, but it didn't happen. Which, yes, it did make me a little bit existential. Fortunately, very glad with you all and with the composition assignments that I am fortunate enough to have nowadays. Okay, so now where do I go to reach that shrine? I remember being stumped here as well during my first playthrough. It looks like they want you to go down, but that's a little bit weird, because the shrine is up. Shoo-be-doo-boom. Quick tech sort of question, Toonforge says. How do you get the gameplay to stream? Do you have to hook up the Switch to your computer or something? Yeah, that's a possibility. I have a capture card. I have 2 capture cards actually. One for each camera that I normally use. And you can hook up the... I'm sorry, I'm so dumb. The Switch just through HDMI. Through one of the capture cards. But then you can't really play the game. You can, but there's a lot of delay, because if you're playing it in your streaming software window, there's such a large delay that it's kind of hard to play. Yeah, I'm going down. Screw this. So what I actually did for this stream is I bought an HDMI splitter. So you put the Switch into the splitter, then you get 2 signals out. One of those goes to the capture card, and the other one goes to just my television. So that way I don't have any latency, and you can see what I'm doing. And then I have my usual microphone setup that I always have. And OBS takes a little bit while to set it up, but everybody uses it, and it's a very mature piece of open source software. I am going to cook some extra warmth food, by the way, just to be sure. So yeah, a capture card and a splitter will do, and then you're good to go. You can cook while enemies are near. Why not? It only takes a few seconds. Excuse me. I can use the trees to climb up. Okay, now I'm already down, so I probably kind of messed up there. Thanks for the tip. Bells ring when the Zonai workers wake and sleep. Oh, they have a rhythm. That's interesting. Skelly asks, could you maybe make a version of Eulogy for the Vanished made specifically to sound good on just the piano? It's probably my favorite song of all time. Oh, thanks so much. It's actually an improvisation. One of 2 improvisations that I did when I was feeling really down on my entire professional life. Like when there wasn't much going on for composing and there wasn't, the channel wasn't doing like no numbers at all for me to kind of yeah, build on, so to speak. And then I fleshed out those improvisations. I don't think that I'm going the right way. I'm going back. At least it looks that way. Am I going back? Yeah, I'm going back to the other part. So yeah, it is a piano improvisation actually. So I can just disable those layers and it will hold up. Oh, you have to cross a stream there, but then I'm going to the other side. So yeah, maybe I can export just the piano and upload that as a link on the YouTube page. But there's no sheet music for it because it's improvisation based. And if I have to write that out, it takes a lot of effort. So probably won't do that. But I'm very glad you like it so much. If I remember, I will... you can ask me next stream. I will extract the piano layer and upload it. Hi, Victoria. Welcome. Welcome back. 2 months of no Timmermans, and now I'm back again to get frustrated about Tears of the Kingdom in public. Jankito asks, also will you do a Q&A one day? Yeah, I've done a few Q&As in the past. We can do a live one soon. That's gonna be fun. Okay, I'm going to need some help. I need some help. I'm going back to the place where I was highest, so that's there. And then, yeah, this is one of those situations in which I feel Tears of the Kingdom is a little bit too much like, hey, you can do it. Good luck. And I'm like, I don't know what to do, and I'm not having fun. What's going on? Behind the waterfall? No. Can I go back up? I can't even go back up, by the way. I need to climb the rock by the waterfall. By this waterfall? I'm so dumb. This one. Okay, I was looking at it, but I didn't really connect the dots. Oh, I'm being a little bit too rash. So, climbing. Y'all still like climbing? Oh, also, something of note is that many sounds are also unchanged. And if you're a little bit of an auditive person like I am, that makes a difference, right? So this background music for the cold, like it's unchanged. Link's voice samples are unchanged. The menu sounds are unchanged. Weapon breaks sound is unchanged. Oh, we're here. Thanks so much for the hint, but I'm still not sure what the intended route was. That goes for animations as well. Like Majora's Mask was a direct sequel to Ocarina, of course, and I think it's a little bit of a golden standard for how to do a direct sequel in a way that makes it something distinct. They changed the voice samples and the animations for Link, of course, and making animations in 1998 was probably not as hard as it is right now. Don't know. But because you're constantly looking at the back of Link being animated in an exact same way, and the voice samples being the same, that's also something in which this game doesn't make as much of an impression as its own thing to me. Stamina, yeah, they did a nice subtle change with the stamina, right? Because now you don't deplete your stamina while you're in the air aiming, but you only deplete it as soon as you actually shoot. That's a very nice change. Nice subtle change. Yeah, I was also sad that so much music was the same. It's also puzzling to me. They have like 4 composers. This is also exactly the same music as Breath of the Wild. And they have lots of money. And they had 6 years. Of course, we can say that maybe 1.5 year of that was COVID. Let's say 4.5 years. They could have easily made this game chock full of amazing new music. But they left so much intact, and I think that's intentional. They really wanted to keep that intact because they wanted to have this more or less as close to Breath of the Wild as they could, in many ways, as a creative choice, which I respect. But for me, it doesn't really work. Scotty says, a while ago I asked you if you could teach us how you write your own music. Don't know if I mentioned this, but I want to be a game dev. And I want to write my own music too. Yeah, I remember, maybe it was you, a question about how I write melodies, because that's a hard thing, often. And I would like to discuss that on stream. So let's do that for the next piano stream. We'll do a section about composition. Oh, it's the greatest music in the game again, yeah. It's such a jam. It reminds me of the Ocarina of Time shop music. Oh, the minigame music. Oh no. Did someone say Ocarina of Time minigame music? Okay. Ascend is such an amazing ability. I really hope that they revisit, like, reconsider everything about Breath of the Wild for the next one. But if they keep Ascend, I wouldn't be angry. And they can scrap climbing, as far as I'm concerned. Scrap climbing, just make it all Ascend. It's also easier for the level designers. If you can only ascend and not climb, then they can restrict much more where you can traverse vertically. We'll read some streaming, some chat questions when I've finished this section. You know, this is fun. This feels good. This feels like playing a game and not using a janky Lego simulator. Send is a lot of fun. Really enjoy it. Animation work is also very cool. Poo. Jankido says, what Majora's Mask did that Tears of the Kingdom didn't is that, first of all, Majora's Mask had a new map, but the same character, and what's weird is that Tears of the Kingdom uses the old map with the new characters, and weirdly, the game feel is the same. Yeah, it's a very different approach, right? Yeah, I'm calling this an official mod pack. And people on the internet can be mean all they want. But they know I'm right. No, that's nonsense. Everybody can have their own opinion, but it does feel like a mod pack to me. Oh, we could go to the Temple of Time. Oh, we already have all the abilities except for recall, and that one is you get from Zelda. Alright. Oh, okay, that went quickly. If I remember correctly, you can take a glider down. To do. Oh, okay, Skyly. Well, we'll see. Maybe I'll experiment again with my streaming timings. Maybe I'll do streamings on other days as well. Kind of depends on my scheduling with my other work. Right now I'm still writing for Conrad, so the game developer who made Soulstalker. Made a post about that. Wrote a whole lot of tracks for Soulstalker, and now I'm writing new tracks for an RPG he's making. Unfortunately, he was very well versed in Unity, the game engine, but Unity is becoming a bit of a crappy company lately, as some of you might know. So he's actually changing to Unreal instead, which isn't an easy task, so lots of respect to him for that. But I am still looking for a few new clients to compose for game dev clients. Whoopa! But you know, you can give Soulstalker a try. It's not on the Switch yet, but it is on Steam, so the PC. There's a demo, if I remember correctly. There's lots of Tim Jams. If you like Tim Jams, Celtic stuff, a little bit of rock stuff, even some orchestral stuff, do check it out. These gliders are super nice. Like the way the physics system uses these gliders is so much fun. Peaceful. I do wonder how it worked in practice for the Zonai though. Did everybody have their own glider, and did they have a parasail in case they fell off? I'm gonna hit the door! Bam! Poo, 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 poo. Yeah, same. Look very cool. What do y'all think about the DLC stuff? That there's not gonna be any for this game. For me, DLC could have changed my opinion on the game a bit. If they really committed to adding Sky Islands, for instance, with some unique aesthetics and unique content, that could have been awesome. And add a Loft Wing. Could have added a Loft Wing. That'd be so great. I'm playing No Man's Sky now, so flying around is my jam. I also enjoy that this is kind of a hint for future story moments. The situation with the Zen garden, like sand and stuff. Choo, 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 choo. Scotty says if you try going back there before unlocking recall, there's secret dialogue. If you go back where, Skelly? Yeah, Toonforge. Getting some information on the first 3 dragons would have been very cool. Like, am I, you know, for my feeling, I get the idea that those dragons in Breath of the Wild were maybe intended for something a little bit more grandiose, like the Headlaneru, the blue dragon that you have to clean. That was an amazing moment, and then if you also had that for the other 2 dragons, but they didn't. So that was another moment in which this game views so close to Breath of the Wild that they're also taking over, like copying stuff from Breath of the Wild that was maybe suboptimal. So if they had like 2 of similar cool quests for the other 2 dragons, and a new one for the blue one. Yep. Recall, 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 recall. Recall, the ability that can reverse time. And Zelda has vanished as well. It's an echo of her sheer will. She's got the power of plot. Mother. The power of plot compels you. Wow. Yeah, you're liking the voice acting. I was looking at the Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, so the second one of the remake trilogy trailer, and the English voice acting is literally like that. And I was like, okay, that's a choice. You made a choice. Okay, well done. The Japanese one is a lot more natural, which I enjoy. Wait a second, I only have 3 of them, right? You have to go back to the other place. You can go there early. Oh, by climbing over the Temple of Time, or something, or using Ascend. Because you have to do a 4th shrine where you'll get, I don't even know. And it's back upstairs. I'm playing on the OLED. Yeah, I bought the OLED immediately after release because it was like, knowing Nintendo, it might take a while before a real upgrade is coming. And the OLED, from what I saw, did look like more or less how the... it felt more or less like the finished version of the Switch. The original Switch had a little bit of that prototypey feel. But OLED looked so sleek, and I got it almost begrudgingly. Like, okay, I'm buying this even though it's not more powerful. And then I took it out of the box and I was like, yeah, this was an excellent idea. It's such a great redesign. And now even trustworthy people are saying that there's a Switch sequel coming next year. Which might also help a bit in my enjoyment of this game, because it, despite their amazing technical chops making this possible, it's a little bit rough looking at times. You know, not artistically. Artistically, this is amazing stuff, of course. But technically, yep. I should be able to hang here. What can go wrong? Don't show your mom.
Link, are you being careful?
Yes, Mom. Oh, nay! I was so close. Anyways, let's not do that. Let's just warp back and do the final shrine. Because I can't remember what you get in the final shrine, but I do remember that one was nice. Yeah, it was really close. He hit the stone and then he fell down. The doofus. Nee, pot Jan Dikkie! Uh-huh, so close. And yet so far away. Ha! Stupid voice acting. Okay. Maybe we should do a Dutch stream one day, so you can hear what a beautiful, beautiful language it is. Griebelende grutjes. Let's go! Oh, I also really like this radial menu that they... You know, Skyward Sword, of course, had one as well. Hello? I think I'm doing a boo-boo on this. I'm not actually very good at playing Zelda games, as you see. I'm actually kind of dumb. Dumb but sweet, like my girlfriend always said. Oh nee! Oh! Flips. Potjandozie makker! Okay, but this is just regular old Zelda puzzlery, so I can't be angry about this. This is just me sucking at Zelda. Yeah, if I'd have to... Hey, Ennis, welcome. If I'd have to be ranking the Zelda games on Switch, like the major one, the major 4 ones, so Tears of the Kingdom, Breath of the Wild, Link's Awakening, and Skyward Sword HD, I'd actually think that... Hello? Oh, it's just there. You don't have to be high, you can just cross the thing. I think my ranking would be Breath of the Wild 1, because that's one of the best games ever made. Still. I think actually for me Skyward Sword HD would be second place. Maybe because I went into it going, okay, I know the music for this is amazing, but everybody's hating on it, so I probably won't like it. And then I ended up really loving it. Not everything, of course. Lots of filler stuff in there, but the stuff that's good in Skyward Sword is so amazingly good, and there's so much of it. Oh, this is a rewind shrine, that makes sense. And then I'm not actually sure if I'd put Link's Awakening above Tears of the Kingdom or not. Maybe I would, because Link's Awakening does have some nonsense, obtuse progression, because it's a game from 1994 or something. So I had to look up walkthroughs every now and then. But it has such a strong identity. It has a very elegant little plot that works so well within the context of the game. The music is fantastic, the dungeons are great. But if Link Between Worlds was on Switch, that'd be my number 3, I think, because that game is also very good. In any case, I actually think Tears of the Kingdom at this point is my least favorite major Zelda game on Switch. And in general, if I'd have to do a ranking, Twilight Princess would also be highly up there. Because Twilight Princess is a weird game. There's a lot of stuff in it. Sometimes there's stuff in it that obviously that maybe should not have been in there, but they just put it in anyways, like the Wild West segment. Not sure why it's in there, but alright. But it's just so much stuff in there that just works so amazingly well. The craziest contraption I've ever made in Tears of the Kingdom is probably everything I've made, because none of it worked. It's all ghosts, says Skyward Sword is probably my second as well. Skelly's made a mobile army. I literally made a tank that carried 5 little automatic killing machines. Ooh, interesting. With a lot of glue. The Oracle games. Yeah, I've actually played those, but they're on NSO now. The 2-log raft worked. That was a piece of art. Alright, so that was the opening. Let's dive down, and then I'm calling it a day. Because I have to say, costs a lot less energy to thank you, goodbye, to stream while playing a game than to stream while playing the piano. So these 2 hours have kind of flown by. And I had fun chatting with y'all again. Not sure if I'm making this a series, we'll see. So it kind of depends how much people will watch this, watch the archive of it. Oh, also, a little bit of a pet peeve, but Link just looks like an IKEA most of the time on this game, wearing all the weird stuff he's wearing. I'm wearing a minecart shield. And stuff like that. Okay, now I can open the door and get a 4th heart. Toot 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 toot. Oh, I think I'm being dumb again because it's going to be really hard to go down with this thing. And I don't have a parasail yet, so I'm going to have to dive into the water. Dive in the water. Ooh, it can turn really well. Oh, I just love the physics on this thing. Dive in the water, children. Dive in the water. And this skydiving, I really hope that they keep the Sky Islands concept for the next one. And this time, after Skyward Sword kind of flubbed it, and in my humble opinion, Tears of the Kingdom kind of flubbed it, they really flesh it out. Including skydiving, including loft wings. You know, as far as I'm concerned, they can just not do a regular Hyrule. Just the entire game is Sky Islands. I would be completely okay with that. It would allow them to make linear sections, make wide linear sections, non-linear sections. Do away with shrines, you know. If you're doing Sky Islands again, or a similar concept, or regular islands, you can put the little micro dungeons just on the Sky Islands themselves. I would really love that. They could go ham with different aesthetics. Nintendo's doing a hiring spree, by the way. Right now, they're going to be expanding a lot from now until 2027 or something. But like doubling in size or something. That's probably in part because game development just keeps becoming more intensive and expensive. But maybe they'll keep planning stuff out well, like they have for the past years, and are allowed to give us a Twilight Princess-y in terms of variation open world Zelda with the core gameplay completely redesigned in a different style compared to these two. Dive in the water, children. Frozen fish shield. Jackito asks if I will do more Xenoblade Chronicles 3 streams, like covering the music. Honestly, I'm not sure yet what to do with this channel at all at this point, because the goal of the channel for years was survive until the sequel to Breath of the Wild comes out. Question mark. Profit? But the question mark turned out to be game no has very interesting music, and the profit didn't happen. So I'm kind of still in flux what I'm going to do with this channel at all. So I did a Mario track that was nice. Didn't do any numbers, but I really enjoyed it. I was considering doing a few videos rescoring Breath of the Wild, Tears of the Kingdom, in which I'll, for example, like Raudu has a beautiful theme that you barely hear, that I'm now talking through, extending that, fleshing it out, orchestrating it, making variations for Ateno Village, Kakariko Village, Lurelin, etc. Kind of making the music that I wanted to hear, but making it myself. That could be an interesting direction. This is beautiful. Why is it so short? It's very, very beautiful. Like Tulin's theme. Tulin's theme is gorgeous, but in game it plays for like 50 seconds and then it's gone. And I'm just like they fell into that trap. They made that choice in Breath of the Wild, and I was like, okay, well, they're still figuring this out. It will be better in Tears of the Kingdom. In Tears of the Kingdom, they do it again, but even worse. So we write these gorgeous new themes for these characters that we have, and you just don't hear them. You barely hear them. And doing a piano version for the what they're called in English, like the golems, the constructs. Piano version for the construct combat. Piano version for Queen Gibdo. So there's a few nice tracks that I want to do. Anna says, Tim, could you do would you do a merge of both piano and gameplay? Sounds like a lot of effort, but might be cool. That's a very interesting idea, and my wife also asked about that. I'm not completely sure how that would function. If I would, for example, play a bit of the game and then go like, oh yeah, this piece of the game would be nice if it had more of this kind of music, and then switch on my piano cam and play some piano. Would definitely be possible. But I have to figure some stuff out, because streaming a game had its own technical hurdles compared to the myriad of technical hurdles that I went through for the dual camera piano setup. But I can probably combine those, so that's an interesting notion for sure. Hey, thank you, Graham. Thanks for stopping by. Aw, thank you so much, Skelly. Skelly says, remember that will stay with you no matter what direction your channel goes in. Thank you so much. Tulin's Team is probably my favorite Zelda song, Lazarus says. Yeah, when I extended it for the piano arrangement, I was like, this is gorgeous. Why is this so short? And just now, when I heard the theme for Rauru, I was like, I had goosebumps. But only because I know how it goes. And sometimes you need repetition for music to really sink in. Also, beautiful piece of music. I'm going to extend that a lot. Anna says, I feel like there's still a lot more your channel can achieve with Tears of the Kingdom. We've barely scratched the surface of which is what this game has to offer. Skelly says, play the game with music turned off and play all the music, just better. Yeah, or ask my kid to play the game, so I don't have to play it myself, and then just do the music. It's also interesting. Yeah, Anna's, we'll see. Just keep working on this in a relaxed way, and trust you all, trust my patience, trust my listeners, and then it's gonna turn out fine. Really cool how they made those clouds. It's like a combination of billboards and some dynamic stuff. Yeah, this is a beautiful cutscene. Then the air who is... Oh man, the ending of this game, I'm not going to spoil it outright right now for those who haven't finished it. But it's essentially trying to do what Breath of the Wild did at the ending, but then completely succeeding in making it an utter spectacle. And musically, oh my god, that section is just gorgeous. So that was fun. I had fun up there. And now we're jumping down to Hyrule. I won't do a lot of Hyrule, I think, for today. Oh, they're essentially railroading you into diving one of those two ponds. Last time I dove into the left one, I will dive into the right one. See if that improves my gameplay experience. Those drawings, by the way, on the ground are so ugly. I never really clicked with those, unfortunately. And their usefulness narratively is also not too amazing. Yeah. So, walking around on Hyrule is kind of where the game slowly starts falling apart for me. I do think this is kind of cool. Blah, da, 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 playing the same jingle. Ooh. Same jingle that they did for when you touch down on Hyrule for the first time in Breath of the Wild. But you know, there's only so much referencing you can do before it's not referencing anymore, it's just using the same stuff again. Desert Fruit. That's a fun thing. They did do a few things that kind of livened up combat. The Desert Fruit and the cold and the heat and the shock stuff. The puff shrooms. I don't think I ever did that shrine. It looks fun. But I don't have my parasail yet. But don't want to go through the entire song and dance over Hyrule Castle yet. Do 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 do. Oh yeah, final boss has better music than Dark Beast Ganon, and Dark Beast Ganon is one of the best pieces of music in Breath of the Wild. It's great. Joe Miller says, musically I think this game is an absolute triumph, and one of the areas where I indisputably believe it exceeds its predecessor. Derelict, Gerudo Town, Thunderhead Isles, into Dragonhead Isles, etc. Yeah, I went into Dragonhead a little bit weird. I think I accidentally just immediately hit the right spot. So I didn't have the entire approach, so maybe I should have a listen. The water looks a little bit too wide for my current state. There's a bridge over there. Playing without paraglider makes it different. But overall, Joe, I'm glad you enjoyed the music for this. Personally, it was a major disappointment for me because of the intensive reuse they did, and also, like I was talking about, with some of the gorgeous new themes they wrote that just went completely almost unused, kind of falling into a similar trap that Breath of the Wild fell into, and I was kind of hoping they had improved upon that. Bop. Oh well. Ah, you went to Dragonhead first. That's interesting. I actually discovered the 5th dungeon accidentally while exploring the depths. And I was like, something's going on here. I can't do a whole lot yet, but something is going on. And I was very glad that essentially the jungle finally got its own dungeon. Just not in the jungle itself. But it was something that was kind of missing from Breath of the Wild, so I really appreciated that addition. And that entire section, you know, outside of the Ultra Hand stuff, which was just awful. If I ever make it that far here on these streams, you'll see how much I suffer going through that dungeon. But musically, aesthetically, and then that boss, and then walking along with the 5th sage. Oof, so cool. And the music for that boss is also so great. It's kind of like the boss itself is a very cool callback reference. It's not even a reference, it's not really that clear. You can call it a reference done right. It reminds me very much of Coloctos from Skyward Sword. Has a similar concept, but it feels very different in the way it's designed, and musically as well. Musically, it also feels like Skyward Sword music for some reason, even though it's very much its own unique thing. Really enjoyed that. I was like, okay, this game is after doing so much recycled stuff and going to the same old regions again. Finally, this game is picking up, and that was it. Then it was off to the end game, and we were done. So yeah, it was a little bit sad. What's that? Fire! Oh, it's Lizalfos. We haven't fought those at Breath of the Wild at all. It's kind of interesting. Now I'm talking to you about this. Oh, what? It's a little bit early for you, don't you think? Seriously? Seriously? I've got 4 hearts and no weapons at all, and we're going that route. Alright. Alright, let's see if I can what I can do, but this is very unfair. Oké. Bonk. En nou opzouten. Doei. I'm noping away from here. Thank you. Thank you. Anyways, what I was saying is that I'm actually being surprisingly positive as well about this game. I'm kind of bouncing around between two extremes, if you've noticed. What? Oh, it's a flying thing. That's a shame. I want to go to that island. I haven't been there in previous playthrough. Durability. So much fun. Anyways. There's still a lot of stuff that I really appreciate in this. But that's probably also because we're now at the beginning of a playthrough and we just had a lot of new stuff. And the longer this goes on, the more old stuff we're going to see. So probably the more negative I will become again. Negative critical. Lightly critical. Roasting this game in a lightly critical.
Oh my god!
Ooh, ah, ooh, ooh, ah, ooh. And the water is so shallow and he dies! The water is very shallow. Wow. Link is a great diver. Makes sense considering his family-in-law. Let's read some chat. Flower Blight. Oh, that was Flower Blight, right? Okay, so they reused that one as well. I don't think I've been here either. Flying bike, I have to build that one. Reading chat, la 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 la. Yeah, I'm kind of talking Dutch here and there. It's quite a bit of Dutchness. My plan is actually to turn on the shrine at the stable that I saw, and then maybe it's time to collect a parasail after that. I think I saw a stables here. Rare! Rare! Alright, there we go. Anna says, I heard someone putting it in a way saying Breath of the Wild was more of building the foundations and Tears of the Kingdom is the final game they wanted to make. I like that, but Breath of the Wild has its own charms. Yeah, that's an interesting way of looking at it. You know, Tears of the Kingdom is full of stuff. Like, full of little quests, full of conversations, full of people. Yeah, this is what I always do. Engage it, and then go away. But I will try it just for funsies. From that sense, I do understand, but Breath of the Wild did use its emptiness in a very cool way, in my opinion. And made it feel intentional. And with Tears of the Kingdom, I feel more restrictions than in Breath of the Wild. I feel like Tears of the Kingdom, the concept behind it with the 3 different world layers is so incredibly ambitious. But none of it really gets followed through until the end. Because of technical restraints, maybe. Because of COVID, perhaps. Because of production constraints. I'm not doing this, don't feel like it. In that sense, Breath of the Wild for me feels like more of a completed singular work of art. And Tears of the Kingdom doesn't feel like they really had a vision that they finally nailed with this game. They just took Breath of the Wild and did a whole lot of creative stuff with it. Oh, bye-bye, Skelly. See ya. Fellow goober. Goofy goober. Victor says, for me, my biggest gripe with Tears of the Kingdom is it feels like an amusement park built for Link instead of containing the post-apocalyptic atmosphere Breath of the Wild had. Yeah. You know, that emptiness worked very well. And here there's something around every corner, which, in a sense, is cool. But I don't think that the style really works for that. Like the graphical style, the musical style as well. It's very understated, even though the game is full of stuff. So maybe the music should also have been a little bit more jubilant. Yeah. Let's just say it's not as cohesive. A bloopy. Bloopy. In the series of attacking innocent animals with arrows for money, let's shoot a bloopy. Bam. 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 Link is actually a monster. Joe Miller says, I also think Pro HUD is crucial. It's the sole reason why I spend my first 35 hours without the paraglider, getting adjusted to new powers and enjoying exploring the world in a way Breath of the Wild never allowed. Making my way to the depths without the glider, being able to do the plateau the same way I did in Breath of the Wild with no glider. That is an interesting point you make. Could be fun to make a kind of almost a challenge run along with you all on this stream. Not a challenge run in the sense of doing it without a paraglider altogether, but just doing the game in a weird way, like in a weird progression. Trying to find a gameplay style that makes me enjoy this. Because right now I am kind of quite enjoying myself just hanging around here. But it's also because I'm doing it with you all and not just by myself. I would have been playing No Man's Sky instead. And when Super Mario Wonder releases, I will be playing that a lot. Yeah, komt u maar. Oh yeah, you have to make the ladder extra long. Oh yeah. Oh, now I remember why I didn't enjoy this game, because of Ultra Hand. Maybe we can find a playstyle that uses as little Ultra Hand as possible. Let's see if this game still holds up. Done. I'm going back up. Goodbye, mister. I fixed your ladder. Okay, I'll talk to him. I'll engage with the content. This is the way in which I play this game. Like, I don't feel like talking to people. I just want to see new stuff. I don't want to talk to people.
Oh my gosh, already. I've waited a long time for someone to rescue me. It's my own darn fault I'm here, though. Dropped something down the well and climbed in after it. I even had a ladder, but yeah, it broke when I tried to climb up. And I broke my leg. And now I've been eaten by the fish.
This is fun. They, what I was talking about earlier in the stream, where they have dialogue for where you've already fixed the ladder. He says something about it instead of the game just going, "Oh, thank you for fixing the ladder." He says, "You did it already." That's very fun. That's a way in which the game makes you feel seen in a very fun way. Whee! Wade in the water, children, yay. Yeah, let's do it. I'm just going to do goofy voices whenever I read someone's lines. Cryonis. Where's my Cryonis when I need it? I'm not going to do Korok seeds. I'm sorry. Korok seeds are just it's kind of incredible that they did Korok seeds again, honestly. And I'm kind of feeling like a weirdo for being so hung up about that, because I don't read it a whole lot on the internet, but We were already sick of Korok seeds after Breath of the Wild, right? Ooh, this is cool.
Ah, they're on fire!
That is interesting. And then they put Korok seeds in here, and everybody's like, oh, I'm gonna find some Koroks. You know, power to you, but am I the only one who's like, Korok seeds? Are you serious? Well, probably not. Hello. We are the new enemies. You'll only see us in caves. Okay, well, you're looking like interesting folks. It was nice chatting with you. I'm going away. It looks like I'm actually not reaching the upper part of the cave. Let's see if I can reach the upper part of the cave without having to engage with the content. How to play this game without engaging with the content. Hashtag content. First I'm going to rob your house. Because Link is, in fact, a bit of a psychopath. They're not having it. Yes, you are. Goodbye. Let's see if this works. Nah, it doesn't. Okay, let's do some killing. And let's read some of the chat. Lazarus asks, what's your favorite part? Hey Lazarus, what's your favorite part of No Man's Sky? I haven't been playing a whole lot of it. I'm playing it on PC, so I've mainly been trying to fix the performance issues I have, because that's half of playing games on PC, it seems. But it's a very nice flying around, chilling, and oops, still no paraglider. Flying around and chilling and just kind of following the markers kind of game. And sometimes it's a little bit of a complicated process, the crafting and stuff, but whoop! I don't think so, buddy! There's lots of weapons here. Maybe I should engage with them. Goodbye! I've had it with these folks. Let's blow them up. That's how you do it. You spend 200 rupees. Yeah, seems could have been rethought fully. No, at the very least, just remove the dialogue, for Christ's sake. Are they all dead, by the way? No, I'm still hearing someone, and the chest is still purple. If they remove the dialogue, you fix a Korok, you find him, and you hear ya ha ha, they say ya ha ha, they're happy, and then you get the thing without the game being interrupted. You just get the thing. Like, you click the thing, Korok seed, and there's a Korok there, poof. But you don't have to go through the entire song and dance of, oh, you found me. I know. It's a kind of streamlining that Zelda team did very well, going from Skyward Sword to Breath of the Wild. But could have done some more for this one. Let's see, there was a hole in the wall that I could do stuff with, but I can't see where it is. Oh, I blew it up with the bomb. Now the question is how to get there. Jankito says, when I heard the yahaha, Tears of the Kingdom, I just wanted to turn the game off. This is a long stream, folks. Maybe I'm breaking my record. I want to get up there. Oh, there's just a frog. Probably I don't have to get up there. Torturing innocent animals. Part 5. This bow shoots really straight. Hello? I don't want to hurt you. Alright, so that's a cave. That's a cave. Every single sage talking a few minutes to retell the story of the Demon King. The first two, I was like, oh, this could be interesting. They're telling their own story, maybe about how they became a sage, what kind of, what life was like as a Goron in those days. the relationship they had with Rauru and the Zona in general. Oh no, it's all exactly the same. Like if you look it up on YouTube, you will actually see that the text is largely the same as well. Which is just one of those moments when like, these people are, these developers are so intelligent. World-class developers. How could something like that then happen? Skyrim had the same thing, where you have a lot of different voice actors saying the exact same lines. So you're taking the effort to have extra voice actors, but you don't give them extra lines, like unique lines? It's like puzzling to me. And again, I mean no disrespect, these people are super talented, super skilled. They probably worked their butts off, their pointy ears off making this. But I'm just, as a player, kind of scratching my head. Ooh, come here, come to Papa. Monterine says, enjoying the long stream. I'm doing data entry, very boring. And the stream is keeping me entertained. Glad to hear that, Monty Renee. I remember you saying a while back that you were rewatching streams because it had been a while since I did the last one. We're going back into the cadence of streaming, everybody. One way with the piano or the other with this one. Yeah, now I'm genuinely getting hungry. Oh yeah, this guy. I haven't done any of his puzzles. Even though I do enjoy the wordplay. But I'm not doing more Ultra Hand than is absolutely necessary. Ooh, Joe Miller with the hot takes. Joe Miller says, I think amusement park is a strong phrase. The world is busier and louder. Oh, sorry, I wasn't reading this right. The world is busier and louder, but not too busy for me at all. A game showing, rebuilding, repopulating, reconnecting. Yeah, that was probably what they ultimately were going for. I don't think it feels as artificial to say that it's a theme park, but it does feel more like a park, like a little bit more cultivated, so to speak, less wild. In a sense. Hello, you are a combat encounter. Oh, those guys are fast. I don't want to have a combat encounter. Go away. I'm just minding my business. Oh, he's killing the crickets. It is very cool that enemies are now seemingly even more able to trigger physics interactions compared to Breath of the Wild. Like the bats that just left the cave that started on fire. Yeah. Just Dance stream. Boom, 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 boom. Pee, 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 pee. Pa, 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 pa. Let's dance. Yeah, I'm calling it a day. Saving this. And going to call it a stream for now. Well, folks, that was a very therapeutic stream for me. Thank you for hanging out. Oh, thank you for hanging out with me on this silly little stream of mine. We will soon do a piano stream again. I want to do something every week again, like I did before the summer. And let's see, maybe this becomes part of my regular rotation. I had fun. You as well, hopefully. So, yeah. Pee, 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 pee. Yeah, thank you so much for stopping by. Sean, Jovial, Togos, Genkido, Lazarus, Enes, Joe, Monty Renee, Cold Mage, and everybody who wasn't in the chat. Thanks so much for watching. And wish you all a good weekend. And see you soon. Bye-bye. Oh, where's the off button? Wait a second, I'm having a boomer moment. Oh, there it is. Like I said, bye-bye.